BlackFacts.com presents BlackFacts Educational Series. The Tuskegee Experiment. The infamous syphilis study. The Tuskegee Experiment began in 1932, at a time when there was no known treatment for syphilis, a contagious venereal disease. After being recruited by the promise of free medical care, 600 African American men in Macon County, Alabama were enrolled in the project, which aimed to study the full progression of the disease. Participants. The participants were primarily sharecroppers, and many had never before visited a doctor. Doctors from the U.S. Public Health Service, PHS, was running the study. They informed the participants, 399 men with latent syphilis and a control group of 201 others who were free of the disease, they were being treated for bad blood, a term commonly used in the area at the time to refer to a variety of ailments. While the men were provided with both medical and mental care that they otherwise would not have received, they were deceived by the PHS, who never informed them of their syphilis diagnosis. The men were initially told that the experiment was only going to last 6 months, but it was extended to 40 years. After funding for treatment was lost, the study was continued without informing the men that they would never be treated. The study. The purpose of the study was to observe the effects of the disease when untreated, though by the end of the study medical advancements meant it was entirely treatable. The men were not informed of the nature of the experiment. They were monitored by health workers but only given placebos such as aspirin and mineral supplements, despite the fact that penicillin became the recommended treatment for syphilis in 1947, some 15 years into the study. PHS researchers convinced local physicians in Macon County not to treat the participants, and instead research was done at the Tuskegee Institute, now called Tuskegee University. In order to track the disease's full progression, researchers provided no effective care as the men died, went blind or insane or experienced other severe health problems due to their untreated syphilis. Ethical implications. In the mid-1960s, a PHS venereal disease investigator in San Francisco named Peter Buxton found out about the Tuskegee study and expressed his concerns to his superiors that it was unethical. In response, PHS officials formed a committee to review the study but ultimately opted to continue it, with the goal of tracking the participants until all had died, autopsies were performed and the project data could be analyzed. Buxton then leaked the story to a reporter friend, who passed it on to a fellow reporter, Gene Heller of the Associated Press. Heller broke the story in July 1972, prompting public outrage and forcing the study to finally shut down. By that time, 28 participants had perished from syphilis, 100 more had passed away from related complications, at least 40 spouses had been diagnosed with it, and the disease had been passed to 19 children at birth. Aftermath. In 1973, Congress held hearings on the Tuskegee experiments, and the following year the study's surviving participants, along with the heirs of those who died, received a $10 million out-of-court settlement. Additionally, new guidelines were issued to protect human subjects in U.S. government-funded research projects. As a result of the Tuskegee experiment, many African Americans developed a lingering, deep mistrust of public health officials and vaccines. In part to foster racial healing, President Bill Clinton issued a 1997 apology, stating, "The United States government did something that was wrong, deeply, profoundly, morally wrong. It is not only in remembering that shameful past that we can make amends and repair our nation, but it is in remembering that past that we can build a better present and a better future." During his apology, Clinton announced plans for the establishment of Tuskegee University's National Center for Bioethics in Research and Health Care. The final study participant passed away in 2004. Narrated by Timbuktu. To learn more about Black history, visit www.blackfacts.com.